talked in camp about wanting to be more consistent this year. How do you feel like that's played out for yourself?
For me personally, I feel like I've been consistent with what I'm working on. My biggest aspect right now is just staying healthy and catching everything that's thrown my way. So just me focusing on that and just keeping the basics. The basics has been my main focus. So personally, I feel like I've been very consistent. It may not seem like that to the naked eye of the fans and whoever's watching behind closed doors, but I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing good, and I know what I need to work on. So personally, I feel like I've been consistent with what I want to do and my personal goals.
3 weeks left in the season. How do you get the passing game up to a level that is really going to make an impact?
The way we get the passing game to the level that we want to and want to impact is just basically just getting back to that dominant run game that we usually have. And when that's dominant, it opens up the pass plays, it opens up those downfield passes and all that. So once we are 100%, every 11 player on that offense is giving their 110 effort, I feel like that's just what's going to start separating our offense, and we're going to have more of those explosive plays in the pass game. And that's one thing that's been deterring our offense from winning these games and having these big plays is just, not being all, team sound on 11 of those positions, So our main thing is just once we're on that field, you got to give it your all, like every player getting the ball, no matter if it's run or block. So that's been our biggest factor on, having our pass game up to par.
What was that like Friday, playing in those conditions of the wind in the passing game? How much of a challenge was that?
It's challenging, but it's America. The weather shouldn't affect how you play, regardless. You should always be ready to go. And we didn't really have as many pass plays that game, so who knows, who could tell. And just the opportunities just wasn't looking as good for us in pregame and everything. So that took a huge toll on us before the game even started, just how that ball was looking, pregame warm-ups and all that, and how crazy the wind was. So that probably has to do with our coaches feeling more comfortable and seeing how our quarterbacks is being more comfortable and how uncomfortable they were in those situations and conditions out there. So I feel like
because if the ball is supposed to go here and the wind takes over here, that must have been hard to deal with at times.
Yeah, totally it was. But I feel like like I said, it's America. If you have dreams, aspirations of playing on the next level, the weather conditions is crazy wherever you go. So you have to get used to it now. And those are one of those games I felt like we just it affected us in a huge way, obviously, in our pass game.
Yeah. How are you feeling just about the pass game as a whole, as far as executing all the different parts that make those plays successful?
Can you repeat that? My bad.
Just how are you feeling about the pass game as a whole, and executing every single player on the field, executing what they need to do to make those plays successful?
Yeah, I feel confident about our offense. I still do, and since camp, I have been feeling the same way about our offense. We have those players. We have a lot of young guys at the receiver position making plays. A lot of guys who were a 2 last year is making a lot more plays at the 1. Anthony Gould, Silas Bowden, you got Tyjon and other guys, making those huge plays. And like I said, when you have all those guys in one room making plays, it gives me confidence. It gives other people confidence at the receiver position to want to, go harder, work on whatever those dudes was working on in the offseason and staying up to par. But like I said, just the basics, stay the basics. The wideouts just keep doing what they're doing, running routes, be consistent, and that's all we can do. We can only control what we can, and what our job is to do is just to run routes, getting the holes where you supposed to sit down and stay there so the other people can get open. It works hand in hand in getting everybody the ball in the pass game, honestly. So if you just keep the basics, running the plays like the playbook, that's all these coaches can ask for us.
You mentioned how key the running game is to sort of unlocking the passing game as well. And you guys ran the ball really well in the first quarter Friday, but then after that kind of fell off a little bit. Is there anything you really saw out there, maybe something you guys were doing different or something the Huskies adjusted for on the other side while you guys weren't being as effective?
We just got to stay in the moment. We had a couple of times during that game where it just felt like we weren't living in the moment. You got to play every play like it's your last, and a couple of those conversions, 4th down, 3rd, and whatever, we didn't get those, and normally that's our biggest factor in games is going for those 4th downs, going for those 3rd and longs and converting. And I feel like we just weren't living in the moments during those times and treating every play like it was our last. And we let that get to us. We got a little comfortable being in the league for the first time this season, going into the 4th quarter. I feel like we got into a little comfort zone with the lights cutting off or whatnot. Like it just didn't seem like we were in the moment the whole time, and that's something we need to preach around this facility and with this team, is just living in the moment. Don't ruminate on the bad plays you had, and don't think ahead. Live in that play, make that play now, because that's the one that's going to count later. So that's what we just got to do, live in the moment.